Hey everyone, I wanted to give a quick channel update for my plans for the future as well as my thoughts on the recent ad sponsorship. So, as far as the plans for the future go, I'm still gathering footage of Elden Ring and I'm on my first New Game Plus cycle, and I've been more or less focusing on getting more NPC dialogue as well as trying to figure out some of their triggers. So this is a little bit time consuming, and once I do complete that, I intend to make more lore resource videos first. Now, these aren't going to necessarily be theories or translation related stuff. It's really just going to be concrete information which people can access really easily to get a better understanding of each quest line. And maybe eventually I'll create like an overarching story video just compiling the different footage of the information found within Elden Ring itself. And then after that, I do intend to potentially make more dedicated theory or translation videos. I know there's a few differences which have been mentioned by others already, like with Ronnie's questline, and some other things that I've noticed is like Astel, Natural Born of the Void, is called more like the Spawn of Darkness in Japanese. And so one of the weirder things about trying to parse through this information is trying to figure out whether or not it comes from George R.R. Martin or Miyazaki and From Software. So is it a case of English to Japanese to English telephone? I don't really know. It's going to be a little bit of an interesting experience as we go along. Alright, and now for some of my thoughts on the recent ad sponsorship. For those who don't know, I was sponsored by AOEAH.com, and they're kind of real money sellers for Elden Ring runes and items. And my initial thought process was that it didn't break any of the rules for the terms of service in Elden Ring, and that farming can kind of suck, especially if you want to get just a duplicate item that's only available in like New Game Plus. But aside from that, I also thought it's important that adults can be adults and be responsible with their own money, and a site like AOEAH doesn't harm the game or individuals. However, Keeper Grave Ave brought up a good point in one of the comments that things like this only tell video game companies that there's an audience for these in a game. With so many people trying to fight microtransactions from being built into every game, having this supported by a creator feels very wrong. Honestly, I didn't really consider it from that perspective before. My initial thoughts were that farming in Elden Ring can kind of really suck, especially if you're going for the really, really low drop rate items or items that you can only attain one of per playthrough. So I thought it was a valid way of being able to allow players to get what they want when they wanted it. But I think overall, they do bring up a good point that this kind of can send a message to developers that there's more of a market for this kind of thing, which I'm generally against. So with this perspective in mind, I have decided to unlist that video, and I do have it archived into my videos playlist to kind of have a little bit of a record on my change of perspective. I think it's important to show that we can kind of grow as people, and while I don't necessarily think taking the sponsorship was a mistake, I do think my opinion about it has changed, and I do want to be honest about that and upfront about it. So as you can see, this is still a growing channel, and things like this are some of the pains of growing as I learn more about navigating social media. In some ways, I'm fine with my decision because it's given me this new insight from your guys' input that I didn't have before. So while it sucks to kind of have this experience in some ways, I'd rather have a more holistic approach to my channel as well as the way that I interact with my community. I hope my explanation here has given you guys some more insight into my thoughts on the matter. I hope you can respect my initial decision as well as why I changed it. And I do want to thank everybody who gave me feedback, even if it was negative. I think there's value in acknowledging negative feedback and all that. And so if you guys do comment on my videos, I do try to read them as well as I can. I don't always get notifications. But if you want to give a more direct line into my communication channels, I do recommend checking out my Discord server, where we do talk a lot about games and things like that. So that'll pretty much wrap up this video. Thanks for watching as always, and take care. See you on the next one. Last Protagonist out.